Hello and welcome to Taking You to School with Dr. Tom Prichard. I'm your host, JP John Paz from the Two Man Power Trip. Of course, joining me, the star of the show, the former WWE World Tag Team Champion, the Doctor of Desire himself, Dr. Tom Prichard. Dr. Tom, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great today, John. Thank you very much. We're doing really good.
What's going on in the world of the JPWA?
We're coming up on the last week for these guys, and they're about to graduate in 1 week, so it's getting close.
As far as the NWA is concerned, what's going on with the NWA? I know that obviously I just talked to Sal Renaro, your
Hmm.
good longtime close personal friend there, works for the NWA as well. He's telling me, he loves that they're on X, but what's going on in NWA?
Well, I think you know more than I do if you're talking to Sal.
Oh,
They have Dothan coming up on the 14th,
yep.
and some other stuff coming up. I think in January, the end of January.
Interesting.
So
I don't know if it's really NWA affiliated or not, but ACW is a new league called Awesome Championship Wrestling. They're running a show in Poughkeepsie, New York in January. Tom Latimer's defending the NWA title. I don't know against who, but he's on that show. I thought that was interesting. Poughkeepsie, New York, not an NWA town. You know what I mean? That's
well,
WWF
maybe
town.
well maybe it could be an NWA town if the NWA champion shows up.
Yes, true. True.
Yeah.
Interesting. And obviously WWE doesn't really run there anymore with them going to bigger, way bigger venues and stuff now.
Well,
So
then the NWA has a pretty open border, if you ask me.
yes. Brendan, hello. Good evening, gentlemen. How was your turkey day, Dr. Tom?
Turkey Day was great. Like Turkey
Maddie,
Day.
Maddie R. Good evening, and everybody
Maddie.
else. Maddie
Yep.
R. Jason, hello, Jason. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving as well.
Thanksgiving was awesome.
Dr. Tom, so good to see you. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Sorry I'm late. Right on
Barbara's
time.
never late.
Right on time.
Yep.
Oh, ATF starting off hot here again. He always starts off hot. After another dominant win, can we confirm that Michigan is the Hands of Stone, Ronnie Garvin, and the Ohio State Buckeyes are the Art Pritz?
I think Les Thatcher would disagree with that. I think Les was very happy with that.
He's an Ohio State Buckeyes fan?
Yeah. Les is
Oh,
from
wow.
Ohio, Cincinnati.
Duh. Heartland. Duh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. By the way, on that victory, 13-10 Michigan.
Yeah.
Man, Ohio State had them 3rd and 6, and they just ran the ball and didn't even matter. Got 26 yards and a first down, and that was all she wrote.
Well, Les wasn't very happy, so
No,
no.
man, Michigan, they just did it again. Did you see them trying to plant a flag on the field at the
Yes.
end?
Yes, I did. Thought
Do
it
you
was
know how
great.
to Do you know how to prevent that?
No, how do you prevent that?
Don't lose. That's how
Oh,
you prevent that. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Very nice. Okay.
Interesting. Hannibal's here. Who would win in a shoot fight today between Marty Jannetty and Ricky Morton? Wow.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I think Ricky'd cheat to win.
In a real shoot fight. I don't know. I might have to go with Marty.
Yeah, I
He
think
seems like,
Marty cheat to win too. So it's kind of
yeah,
a toss up for me.
yeah, damn.
Hmm.
Brendan saying just in time, Barbara.
Yeah.
And did Dr. Tom have to put Bruce in a sleeper to get the turkey leg, or did he just stare him down? Thanks. How did
No,
you get the turkey?
I had my own turkey leg. Didn't have to worry about Bruce's turkey leg. Had my own.
Mike says Trump rules. Wow, with Mike starting off with the politics here.
Yeah.
He voted Trump, he said, Mike.
Well, there you have it, Mike.
He also said Jesus was a black man. Wow, wow, very controversial today from Mike. Wow.
Well, keep it up, Mike.
Thank you. And then threw in a
There
God
you go.
bless. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
there you go.
perfect. Scorch, good evening, Dr. Tom. Did Glenn Jacobs ever mention what he thought of the Unabomb gimmick? I find it amusing that Unabomb was wrestling while the feds were looking for the Unabomber.
Glenn never mentioned anything to me about the Unabomb gimmick, but I'm sure he was just tickled pink that he was being used and getting a learn from Al Snow and Jim Cornette. I think Glenn was just happy to be involved.
pretty controversial if you actually think about it. He's a Unabomb, and the Unabomber is actually, wreaking havoc all over the nation. Pretty crazy.
Well, wrestling can be controversial and crazy sometimes.
Do you think that that would be able to happen today? Like where they would have like basically a American terrorist and somebody using that name?
I think there's a lot of stuff we got to be careful about today, but at the same time, there was a time. At the same time, there was a time when controversy created cash. I think Eric Bischoff wrote a book about that. Wrote a book about that. He didn't write one. He wrote one. So I mean, as long as it's done where people care, I guess, in the right way. But you got a lot of different thought out there today.
With Unabomb, obviously they've tried a couple different gimmicks for him. Was he just happy to be working and had a gimmick basically? Like
I
he's not
think
going to
so.
argue?
Yeah, I think so. I think he was pretty content working there and having pretty steady work and a spot and learning how to be in that spot and do what he had to do.
Phil, good evening. Hello,
Phil,
Phil. Brendan, not sure if you know Danhausen or not, Doc, but it's interesting that he is not on AEW TV, but he is the top selling merch guy on Pro Wrestling Tees. Bad move on Tony's part.
I don't know. I've seen Danhausen a couple times. He's an entertaining character. He's a lot like Orange Cassidy. I think he's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
But I don't know what Tony's motivation would be. I don't know if it's a bad or good move. I really don't.
I honestly, I don't know. I can't get into Danhausen, and I really just don't like Orange Cassidy. But I don't. It's one of those things where if the guy's so popular, which he obviously is, and he sells all that merch, and I've seen convention lines, and Danhausen usually has a big line at convention. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like you can't figure out a way to get this guy on TV and use that popularity. It's strange.
Well, or how would you? Or if you don't know how to use it, then you don't know how to use it. So maybe Tony's just at a loss for ideas or words.
I don't know. I feel like somebody there's got to know how to book, or be like, okay, we have an interesting character here. We have to get him on TV. He's so popular. We got to do something with him.
Well, who would be that voice?
I have no idea.
Who's Tony going to listen to?
I don't know.
Yeah,
No idea.
and who's going to care if it's not their TV time? I mean, it's a pretty selfish place to be.
I feel like if that was WWE and they had somebody like super popular like that, person would be on TV every week.
Well, they would know what to do with him, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and they would have like merchandise and all this other. I know Pro Wrestling Tees does, but like WWE would have like a foam finger and you know what I mean, and this. And that. I mean, they'd have a million different things for him. He would
Yeah.
even be doing like a weekly merchandise thing or something. I mean, they would do something with him.
Yeah, he could be in the R-Truth category, I think. Only
Yeah. Yep.
little overboard. Yeah.
Yeah. R-Truth was looking to team with Butch, but he wanted to fight Pete Dunne, even though they're the same person. Very interesting.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So R-Truth is he's a little wacky.
Yeah.
Phil says Danhausen is pretty cool. Do you agree with that? Do you agree?
He's not my cup of tea, but again, you can't argue with success. So if he's selling merch and people like him, that's good.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Dell Mountain, Dr. Tom. On the whole, would you say that Brad Armstrong was given better gimmicks than Ed Leslie was?
Well, on the whole, maybe, but Brad had some pretty crappy gimmicks too. Buzzkill and Bad Street, and Bad Street wasn't a bad gimmick. It just you could tell it was Brad.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Brad had that many bad gimmicks. So yeah, maybe he was. But old Brute Eye, he had a pretty good run with even the bad gimmicks.
Brad Armstrong, Arachnaman,
Yeah.
Buzzkill, like you said, Bad Street. Remember he was BA? They were just calling BA when he was with the No Limit Soldiers. He was just BA, like trying to be like badass.
Yeah.
Why was he in with the No Limit Soldiers? That was kind of weird. Fantasia, Candyman.
Forgot about
Dos
Candyman.
Hombres at one point,
Yeah.
like a lot of bad ones. Although I don't know, Beefcake, right? He was Brother Brudeye when he went to WCW because they couldn't call him Brutus Beefcake.
Right.
Then he was the Butcher. Then Abdul the Butcher sued them, so they couldn't use the Butcher name anymore. So he became the Man with No Name.
Mm.
Then he became the Zodiac. Then he became the Booty Man. Then he became the Disciple. Then he was Ed Leslie, and then he was like Brudeye basically again. So yeah, I don't know. That's yeah, probably on the whole, I would go Brad Armstrong. But yeah, Ed Leslie, man, he had some crazy bad gimmicks after Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
Although I kind of liked the Disciple. He's pretty jacked at that point.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you knew why he was there, and so, like I said, he took even the bad ones and made them good
Did
for
you go
him.
on? Did you go on your Brad Armstrong pilgrimage?
Yes, I did.
How did that go?
Went very well.
Was
Always
Lash
go.
was Lash with you?
No, I went by myself this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, nobody can make it. So that was the only weekend I had open.
Lash is just too damn busy.
Yeah, everybody's busy these days. Everybody's getting busy.
Brad Armstrong, I would say, as a wrestler, though, got to give him the thumbs up over Brutus the Barber. Sorry, I got to do that.
Well, yeah, overall, I mean, the Armstrong family had all the boys could work. All the boys got something from Bob. Bob was a total package. He could talk, work, uh, entertain. You know, Brian got the most personality and the entertainer part. Brad was the best worker. Stevie was a brawler, and Scott was a business guy. You know, Scott could work in the ring. They all could work. But Brad, I think, was the best worker. He tried to talk like Bob and came across like Bob Armstrong light.
Hmm.
He just didn't have the same bite that Bob did. So, but he was a hell of a worker.
Hello, Ibsen, and
Ibsen,
hello to Bo, the king
Bob
of Kidsport.
James.
Matty R wants to know: did Bullet Bob push his kids in the direction of wrestling, or was it their own decision to
No,
make
it
to
was
get
their
into
own
it?
decision. Bob was like a superhero, and they all wanted to be in wrestling. They all wanted to be in the business. So he didn't push them; they pushed him.
Now, Survivor Series, which I know you did not see, which happened over the weekend. Pretty good stuff with War Games. I liked the card as a whole. The women's match wasn't that great, to be honest, but I liked the men's War Game, and there was some good matches in the card. But Matty R's got a question here, and I don't know if you know this because Bronson Reed got injured. He's saying with Edge and seemingly Bronson Reed getting injured from jumping off the top of the cage, would Dr. Tom say to talent, what's the safest way to do that maneuver? So basically, they're on the top of the cage and literally
Mm-hmm.
jump down onto a table. And
I don't.
apparently Bronson Reed hurt his ankle. Nobody has said broken ankle yet, but it's apparently injured his ankle.
You know, that's a pretty big guy to come off the top of the cage too and land that hard. I
Yeah.
don't think there's any real safe way to do it. You just have to do it and protect yourself best you can. You're coming off the top of a cage. That's why when people use the word fake, you know, when you come off the top rope or I just had a guy 2 weeks ago do an up and over and flip all the way over onto the turnbuckle onto the post.
Oh
You
my
know,
god.
an up and over where you do the post and you
Yeah.
yeah, handstand on the top rope. Well, he did the handstand and started tilting all the way over, landing on his back on the top of the post.
Ugh. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's no. It's. I don't think there's any safe way to come off the cage except protect yourself best you can. Some guys can do it better than others, but that's a pretty risky. It's called high risk for a reason, and that's a pretty risky move. But that's what people are looking for these days.
To be honest, when Edge did it, he did it so he couldn't or didn't want to land like directly on the guy. So he
Yeah.
almost tried to land on his own feet and then hit the guy, which is a huge mistake because that's going all on your legs, and which is
Yeah.
why he broke his leg. Instead of killing the guy, but you also don't want to kill the guy. You want to protect them. So the Edge thing was almost like he was trying to be like, I don't want to kill the guy. Pull up a little bit, and then the Bronson Reed was just 400-pound dude just going splat, and they moved Roman off of the table there.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying there's no real safe way to do it. You just got to take your chances, I guess, and do it the best way you can. But there's a lot more um, agile high flyers, and the Usos can do stuff like that, and they can pull stuff off like that. I think, but accidents happen. So
Jimmy did the same spot onto Jacob Fatu and supposedly broke his toe,
yeah,
according to Jay. So Jay said
yeah.
the press conference Jimmy broke his toe. So even on the other side of the ring, when they tried that spot, he broke something apparently. So
Well, I'll say this: at least they're busting their butt. They're going out there and they're having great matches.
oh yeah, for sure. And the OG bloodline, Roman, the Usos, Sammy, and CM Punk, they won, and now Paul Heyman owes CM Punk a favor. So very
Yes, he
interesting.
does. Yes, he does. Now, I did see the sit down with Heyman and Roman and Punk, and I thought that was pretty good.
Very good. As they, for some reason, refer to it online, they just call it cinema. That was good
Huh.
cinema. Yeah,
Okay.
good job.
Well,
They always have good acting stuff for Roman, and he always knocks it out of the park. He's a good actor.
well, I think he's a good reactor too. I mean, he
Yeah.
does have that. He's authentic and he feels it when he's doing it, which is really good.
Magazine said, I like seeing Britt Baker and her character in Cobra Kai season 6. She plays a Russian karate sensei. You know what's interesting about that? I mean, she looks like $1,000,000. I liked her on the show. She did great. But AEW didn't promote it at all. I had no idea that she was on there until I was watching it. I was
I
shocked.
I had
And
no
that's a
idea.
really, really popular show.
I don't watch Cobra Kai though. So
Uh, it's on Netflix, but it's super popular. If you go on there, they'll give you like the top 10 shows. That's always in the top 10. It's really popular. So you
hmm.
figure your biggest female star, one of your biggest female stars, you might want to promote that.
Why didn't they?
No clue. No idea. That was a nice surprise when I was like, "Whoa, is that Britt Baker playing this Russian chick?" And
Hmm.
and it's her.
Well, I don't think WWE would let that slip by either.
Well, remember when Sasha Banks was on Star Wars? They didn't promote it on the Mandalorian, but apparently she did that without their blessing, so they purposely weren't promoting it. So
You talking about WWE or AEW?
WWE, when Sasha Banks, this is a couple years ago when she was on the
Oh,
Mandalorian, they refused to promote it.
well, there had to be some reason.
Apparently, she was supposed to ask them if she could do it. They said no, and she did it anyway or something. So
Hmm. Well,
yeah, but it's interesting though with Britt Baker because she seems to be in the good graces over there with Tony Khan. They didn't even promote her being on Cobra Kai.
no telling what's going through Tony Khan's head right now.
Probably sitting out the guys from contracts. That's going through his head.
Yeah,
Ray
yeah.
Phoenix and Pentagon are still under contract, not being used, and now Ricky Starks, and they're being
So
sat
are they not
out.
allowed to go? Not allowed to take independent shots or anything?
So here's the thing: they are allowed to take independent shots and independent bookings, except Ricky Starks got pulled, and you can get pulled from shows. He can't work GCW Game Changer Wrestling anymore because a wrestler from Game Changer Wrestling named Effie, who you know very well, apparently ripped Tony Khan.
I don't know him very well. I know who the hell he is, but again, he's not one of my favorite
Well,
people of all time. So what did Effie do?
he ripped Tony Khan on his podcast. He said because for some strange reason, AEW decided to run Hammerstein Ballroom after GCW promoted they were running it. So GCW is running in December, and then Vince McMahon style AEW in December is running Hammerstein Ballroom. So
Hmm.
very and people have said that about him holding out people from the contracts too. Very very Vince McMahon esque of Tony Khan right now.
Wow. So he got pulled from that one.
So yeah, he was going to work GCW, and then Effie said that about the owner of GCW. He goes, "Oh, he's not a football player or a football owner. His son, he's not the son of a billionaire. And he was just kind of like poking fun at Tony Khan and stuff. So right after that, he got pulled from GCW. So
Hmm.
not
Well,
good.
yeah. Well, some people are kind of sensitive about that, I guess.
Do you like that though? If a show is running their big show at Hammerstein, another show sneaks in right before that and runs a bunch of shows, or do you think that
No,
that's not fair? Like,
I think that's kind of chicken shit. I really do. But I mean, I understand why they do it. So that's business, but it is kind of chicken shit.
it is, and I know it's just business, but I don't know. Something about it just rubbed me the wrong way when I saw that because I was
Yeah.
like, "Wow, GCW just announced it," but Hammerstein even just said, "No, there's no wrestling shows. A month here and a month." Like they should have separated that because I know that personally, I've talked to Brett, the owner of GCW, and they were going to run a show in a certain town, and that arena said no. This other league is coming in. You can't run until 2 months later. Like they
Right.
spread it out. So
But I don't think
Hammerstein
they
should
had
have
that.
done a better
They had
job.
that. They made it might not have had that in their contract.
No, right.
So, I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
nothing they could do.
Yep. It's like the Madison Square Garden deal that they used to have. Hey, if we're running once a month, nobody else can run.
Can't get in a month before or a month
Yep.
after. We just
Yep.
happen to run every other month. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Very interesting stuff there from AEW and GCW. But did Brett Armstrong, this is from Frank Nordquist, did Brett Armstrong ever tell you that he did not like one of his gimmicks in particular?
No, really he didn't. I mean, I think he was just he embraced all the gimmicks he had, uh, even though he might have known they were less than stellar at times. They tried to make him buzzkill when Road Dogg was hot, and
Yeah.
that I don't think that came across very well. So, Candyman, trying stuff with him was cool, but he was best at being Brad. Uh, he was sound in everything he did. He was solid in everything he did.
Did you learn from the Bullet Bob learning tree?
Yes, I did. Bubba Bob was one of those guys that he understood what to tell people and how to tell them what they want to hear and give them what they want to see. Um, and I traveled with Bob, gosh, a few times by myself. I want to say about 4 or 5 times when I was driving from Pensacola and we were making the loop to Knoxville. And for some reason, the boys, Brad was probably in WCW and Scott and Stevie were somewhere else. But there was a few times when it was just Bob and me. And just to listen to him talk and tell stories and be intense during the trip, I learned a lot. And I watched Bob operate and work wherever we went. He was like people would recognize him, and he was very, very nice to everybody. And he knew how to connect with people, and I saw that. And pretty much all the boys knew how to do that. They had that great personality, engaging, and that comes from Bob. So I sat under Bob's learning tree many, many times.
Back to Survivor Series. Barbara said it looked like Roman was a little bit late with Punk on the table. Did the timing cause the injury?
I didn't see it, but that could be it. Who knows? I mean, again, that's a big boy going up there. And I
That's
mean,
what
the
I thought. It's like, ooh,
balance,
yeah.
yeah, and the balance up there for a minute and then come straight down.
Onto
That's,
nothing, just the table, basically. The table
yeah,
broke his fall, but yeah.
yeah. Hey, can you do that? Well, sure I can. What's he going to say? No. Um, yeah, it very well could have been timing. It could have been a lot of things, but kudos to him even going up there.
Was Jimmy Snuka the first person to dive off the cage? The one
Well,
onto Don Morocco.
first one I knew of. I think first one a lot of people knew of. But it's kind of like, was Hogan the first guy to slam Andre? Well, no. Seen a lot of other people slam Andre. Not a lot of other people, but Harley Race I saw slam Andre a few times.
Right. Hanson, I believe. Hogan even
Oh, beforehand, yeah.
7 years earlier. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
all that
just
stuff.
a lot of guys. Yeah.
So we'll say Snuka was the first person to dive off the cage.
Yes. Yes.
First time.
And interesting little trivia note. He lost that match, Snuka.
Yeah,
Morocco.
that was after the match, wasn't it?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Jason says, I hope WB isn't ending LA Knight's push. He lost the United States
lost to
title to
Nakamura, right?
Nakamura. Yes, returning
Hmm.
Nakamura.
Well, how was that match?
I liked it. It was about 10 minutes, so it wasn't like crazy long. I liked it. The crowd was into it. They did some cool spots. I thought in the loss, they kind of made him look strong, but
Yeah.
obviously they'll have a rematch and we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I liked that. I thought it was very good. I felt like this loss kind of freshened him up, to be honest. He was almost getting too stale because he's beating everybody every week.
Wow. Yeah, I like Yellow Knight. I don't
Oh, he's
think it's
great.
over for him. Yeah.
No, he's great. Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. Actually, this might push him even further up the card. You know what I mean? Sometimes you lose the title and they give you the big push.
Yeah, I hope so.
Would you rather hang out with George Thorogood or George Brett?
George Brett.
So interesting. I just saw this thing on George Brett the other day. So when he was signing his contract to the Royals, they always put extra stuff in the contract that we don't ever hear about, we don't know about. Like there
Hmm.
was a baseball player that got his wife horseback riding lessons for like her whole life, and they had to buy her a horse, and that was in the contract. Another baseball player, his wife didn't like to travel, so they had to buy them a limo a certain amount of times per year for his kids, and like stuff that we don't know that's in the contract. George Brett, in his contract, they wanted to make a lifetime deal with him. He also wanted to own this apartment complex in Memphis, Tennessee, and the Royals bought it for him. So he owned. I don't know if he still does or whatever, but that was like one of the secret things in his contract that I don't. Maybe he was just saying it like, "Hey, I buy that building for me and I'll sign," and they bought it.
Well, sure, it's like a lot of the wrestling contracts. You get me a bus,
Yeah.
you get me
Yep.
other perks. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's so interesting. It's like, all right, we'll buy you a bus. Okay, deal. It's just so
Yeah.
interesting how that happens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember the years when nobody had a bus, and then all of a sudden, it wasn't all of a sudden, but over the years, I mean, now you think about it, yeah, that's not a bad deal because you can fly to every town, but that's just a hassle. But you have your own bus, you can go and crash, and somebody drives you to town that night.
Yep.
Get off, do your thing, and you don't have to worry about anything. No driving, just chill out.
Cody's got one. Orton's got one. The Miz has one. Yeah, a lot of the guys have buses now.
Yeah, big perk.
Alex Cosentino, what did you have more fun in, the heel locker rooms and buses or the babyface locker rooms and buses?
I had fun in both, but I had a lot of fun in the heel locker room buses. Um, for some reason, but even babyface could be cool too. But I had a lot more fun as a heel.
Hello, the modern day cowboy himself, Mitch Miller. Hello, Mitch. He said he's running late. Sorry.
It's all right, Mitch. You and Barbara can catch up.
Ibsen, anything different at Survivor Series pay per view backstage compared to a Monday Night Raw or Superstars taping? A lot more guys involved in the matches, I feel like, in Survivor Series. That could be a bit of a hassle.
Maybe so. Yeah, I think that's it. Because I mean, Raw's pretty crowded too. But pay per view, I think just a lot more activity going on backstage.
When you're like an agent or producer for a match, it's a multi-man match, like obviously War Games 5-on-5, and you got to deal with. Is that a lot more work for you or no?
Well, Survivors is a lot more work because everybody has to be eliminated, right?
Yep. Well, War Games is they do it
War game.
differently, just the ending, but on a normal Survivor Series, yes.
Yeah. But it's just like a 5-on-5, right? Yes, it was five on
Yep.
five war
Yep.
games. You just have to know where to put people and have the spots at the right time. And that has a lot to do with everybody being in the match and going over it and talking about it and sitting around throwing ideas out.
Please ask Dr. Tom who was the better worker, Brad Armstrong or David Von Erich? Who was the better overall package? Thank you.
Well, I think David was a great worker. Brad was was a great worker too. Uh, they were two different styles, but I think they would have had a hell of a match had they worked together. I couldn't say one was better overall as a package. I mean, Brad could do it all. David could do it all. David was just taller and had that different body frame, but he was he looked the part and Brad looked the part. I think David was a little stronger maybe in the promos, and but Brad could do it all in the ring.
The Yellow Rose of Texas.
Yeah.
Scorch, I just saw a video of Billy Gunn working out with Paul White at Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, California. They were in the outdoor area of the property soaking up the sun. Have you seen Billy Gunn lately? I just saw him on TV.
No, I have not. Looking
He's
shredded.
looking bigger than ever. I mean, obviously he's just a big dude anyway, but I feel like he's getting even bigger. Jeez.
Well, so what's he weighing?
He's got to be like 275, all muscle.
No kidding. Well,
Gotta
good for
be.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul White looking I don't know, not in great shape. I know he's been injured a few times. He had a hip injury, so I mean, especially for a guy his size, that's not good. But he was just working with Big Boom, AJ, and Big Justice, if you know the Costco guys.
I'm not familiar with him, but I do know we went to AEW and worked with who they work with?
QT Marshall.
QT, yes, QT. I was trying to think of the name, but yeah, they worked with QT about like for 20 minutes.
Yes. About 20 years ago or so. God, I don't even remember when it was. It was a long time ago. But I used to see that guy wrestle on the New Jersey indie scene. His name was the Power Child, Eric Justice. And he used to do some corny thing where he goes, oh, and he would like raise his arms. I just remember because we would just crack up. Like, is this guy serious? Like, what's going on here? Now he get famous for going, boom. Again, like, who knows?
So this guy's been around for 20 years?
He used to be an indie wrestler. Yeah. Yep.
And what do they call him, the Costco guy?
Because he literally hangs out in Costco with his son, and they sing songs about the chicken bake and the cookies and like whatever, and then they'll say "boom." It's weird. It's like a
I'm
TikTok
sorry, is this
sensation.
their job? This is what they do?
I have no idea, but they got famous from it.
Okay.
Very strange.
Yeah.
We're living in a weird time, but yeah.
Yes, we are.
Hey, Roger F. What's going on, Roger?
Sorry, Roger. Nobody else is late.
Dell Mountain, Dr. Tom, beautiful Bruce Swayze helped a number of your contemporaries break into the business. Did you ever meet Bruce
I
Swayze?
certainly did meet Bruce early on. I sure did. Is he still alive, Dell? You tell me that because Bruce
Yeah,
was a nice guy.
Dell, we have to find that out. Who
Yeah.
did he help break into the business?
I don't
Bruce.
know. Yeah, I need to know that too. But I met Bruce. I don't know who he helped break into business.
Dell Mountain will help us out on that one.
Okay, good.
When did Booker T first come across your radar? Did you see star potential in him? Always felt underrated in a lot of people's eyes. Booker T.
Yeah, I saw Booker T and Stevie Ray and Ivan Putski's wrestling promotion. He was GI Bro in Booker T or in Ivan Putski's promotion in Houston. And yeah, you could tell he was going to be a star. You could tell he just had something about him. So does Stevie Ray. So yeah, I pretty much thought he'll be going somewhere soon, and he did.
With him on WCW, when they started breaking him off and him doing singles, I could just tell it's like, man, this guy is awesome. Like, I can't wait till he just like breaks out, and then all of a sudden, eventually becomes world champion. Then in WWE, he was really able to show his character with the King Booker stuff. But when him and Benoit had that awesome feud, I was like, man, this guy is awesome. Like, he should get a big push.
Yeah, he deserved it. He was talent from day one.
Yeah, you could just tell. Like, I don't know, and I like Stevie too, but you could tell with Booker he had something.
Yeah, he did.
Tom, who was a totally different person when they became high that you didn't want to be around?
Trying to think of drunk like Chris Adams when he got drunk could be a little belligerent, but again, I put up with that. I don't know. There were a couple guys, but I don't want to name any names because they're still around.
The modern day cowboy himself wants to know who's the heaviest wrestler you had a match with, Dr. Tom.
Uncle Elmer. Stan Frazier, when he was the Lone Ranger in Memphis. And I looked at this big son of going, you ever seen Uncle Elmer, how big he is?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Huge, 7 foot tall, big old hillbilly. And
He made Jesse the Body Ventura look very, very small, which is crazy.
yes, yes. I wrestled him in Memphis one night. He's the heaviest fellow I had to work with. I'll never forget that.
Who's the heaviest partner you've ever had? Like, would it be Bundy and Bam Bam when you team with them?
Probably.
Some big boys.
Mm-hmm.
Craig Seaback, Dynamite Kid, had jumped off the top of the cage onto Bad News Brown, aka Bad News Allen, in a cage match in Vancouver in the early '80s. So there you go. That might be the first to do it.
Maybe.
Dynamite.
Yeah. Could
First
be.
to do a lot of things that people have stolen over the years and never give credit for. But yeah.
Yeah, I wish I would have had a chance to work with Dynamite Kid.
Almost did. You almost did.
Yeah, almost. Just that close.
Did you ever show up for a show only to drive all those hours and find out the show was canceled due to weather, lack of tickets sold, or other reasons?
Thank God, no. Never did.
Wow, nice. Magazine Retriever says in an old promo, Ronnie Garvin says, Tully Blanchard, I want you. I'm going to get you. I'm going to have you. I'm going to get to touch your body. Whoa.
Well,
And he was talking about beating him up, by the way. He was not talking about
okay, well, I thought
yeah.
this sounds like some porn lingo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about Ronnie. I mean, maybe he was meaning something else.
Barbara wants to know, Willie Nelson may have the best bus. Has Dr. Tom ever met Willie Nelson or spent time on his bus? Thank you.
No, I've never had the chance. I know some other guys have, but I've never met Willie. Never had a chance to spend time on his bus.
Dixon Cider. Hey, Dr. Tom.
Dixon Cider.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's like Dixon Cox. I remember him too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great guy. Yeah.
Dixon Cox.
Yeah.
Right on.
Frank wants to know, I watched a classic Raw episode where terrific Terry Taylor came to the ring with Red Rooster's music and red jacket. There's no way he was going to lose the Red Rooster gimmick with that getup.
Well, I don't know how Terry felt about the Rooster gimmick, but I know how I felt about my gimmick sometimes, and I can only imagine.
You know, it's kind of funny. When he first debuts with Bobby the Brain Heenan, Heenan brings him out, and they call him Terry Taylor. So it was weird. It's like there wasn't right away where Vince gave him Red Rooster or thought of it. And he looked like Terry Taylor. You know, he had the Flair robe on and stuff. But Heenan says to him, he goes, you're not the biggest guy in the world. And Terry Taylor, like, he's a heel with Taylor. He's supposed to be, like, pumping him up. And then he's, like, looking at him. He's like, Andre's big. And then he's, like, Terry Taylor. So it was weird. Like, they bring him in, and Heenan, who's his manager, was already kind of diminishing him. He goes, you're not as tough as Haku, because he's starting to name the members of the Heenan family. He goes, you're not. He goes, you're not in that great of shape. And he's like, what? And he goes, Rick Rude is in better shape. So he starts. It was weird. It was like they almost brought him in with the idea of burying him. Like, you could tell Vince is probably telling Heenan, "Oh, make sure you rip him." But isn't that weird? He's managing him, and he's his own manager.
It's not so weird after you figure it out. It's really not.
Terry Taylor was a good hand, though.
Yeah.
Good wrestler.
Yeah.
Red Rooster, awful gimmick. Alex said he always thought he moved really cool in the ring.
Who? The Red Rooster?
No, he's going back to Booker T. BT's.
Oh, Booker. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he did. And he could do the break dance and he could do everything. Yeah.
Mitch said Booker T had a great promo about coming after Hulk Hogan, if you remember that.
I do
awesome
remember
promo.
it. Yes.
You do? We're coming for you. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. You know what's crazy about that promo? If you watch Stevie Ray, he's got like no reaction to it. Like he's like deadpan. But Sherry's like about to laugh, and then she's like she got like, you know what I mean? But Stevie was like the ultimate professional, even though.
Well, it's all in the moment, man. It's all how you handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're Hogan. I know he got no heat over that. Imagine if you're Hogan. Hogan was probably like, what the hell?
Well,
I'm coming for you. You know what I mean?
Got a little caught up there.
Yeah, way caught up. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like actually last night at NXT, the girl Jada Parker, who, if anybody hasn't seen her, I would go out of your way to see her. She called out Lola Vice, and she goes, "I'm sick of your shit. Get out here, bitch." I was like, "What?" I was like, "What?" And
She spelled all those words.
I don't think they're supposed to say that on NXT.
Oh,
I,
yeah,
I
I think there's words you can get away with these days that
I don't know. I
nobody's
feel
gonna
like
say.
she like got caught up in the moment, kind of thing, like Booker. You
Maybe
know?
she did. Maybe she did. But did they beep it?
No, no,
So okay, then they obviously let it go.
yeah. Lola Vice is another one that people should check out on NXT. NXT is pretty good with the talent down there. There's no doubt about
Good.
it. Dell says one wrestler that he heard about Bruce Swayze training was a young Terry Taylor. Wow, tying it all together. Swayze is still alive. He's 84 years old.
Okay. Awesome.
I
Very
love that
cool.
he's tying it together with Terry Taylor from Frank Nordquist. I love that. Look
Well,
at
that's
that.
interesting.
Dell, what a professional. What a true professional. Roger said, I recently watched Ivan Putski's final tag match with his son, Scott, and he was on the juice and barely recognizable, but he is alive, and God bless him.
Yeah, I knew he was alive. Yeah, he off the juice. Yeah, I barely recognized him last time I saw him.
Man, off the juice. I'm sorry, not on the juice. He was off the juice. The last time I saw him, oh my God, he shrunk. I know he was short anyway, but oh man, he was short.
Yeah,
He had to have been like 5'4".
yeah,
Because I was with Tito, obviously his old tag partner, former WWF Tag Team Champion. Tito's pretty big. He's like 6'2", 6'3". Man, I mean, he looked like a giant next to Ivan Putski. Like he's big, but he's not that big. You know what I mean? It's not like
right.
Uncle Elmer or something. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Pusky's definitely got a lot smaller.
Mitch wants to know: did you beat Uncle Elmer? Did you win?
Actually, yeah, I think I got a disqualification win over him.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was TV champion.
The second Dynamite Kid will be in my area this Saturday, wrestling for a local promotion. Can't wait to see him live.
Very cool.
I believe the second Dynamite Kid is the nephew
The nephew.
of
Yeah,
Dynamite Kid. Yeah,
yeah.
he had a brother too. I don't think the brother still wrestles, but he does. Interesting. But
No,
very
he
both are
doesn't.
very young.
Yeah, be nice not to wind up like Dynamite Kid.
Yep. Scorch, Doctor Tom. I heard about Mabel injuring Kevin Nash and Undertaker. Were you concerned about Mabel hurting you because of his size and lack of coordination? Yeah, that's true. You did wrestle Mabel.
Yeah, but he came off with a cross body and now didn't feel a thing. Didn't feel a thing. He was great.
He did hurt Nash, and he did break Undertaker's orbital bone.
Yeah.
Orbital bone. There you go. Dr. Tom, did you ever have to wrestle Mad Dog Vachon? That could have been frightening, knowing what kind of condition he was in.
No, I never wrestled Mad Dog Vachon. It's before my time. He was a generation before me, but I saw him in Houston. Um, he seemed like a mad dog.
Another one of those guys where way smaller than you think because just of how he carried himself. Like I always thought he was bigger, and I saw a
Yeah.
picture. I forget who he was standing next to. Oh, he was standing next to Mean Gene. They were doing a promo in the AWA, and I was like, "Wow, Mean Gene is like towering over Mad Dog Vachon."
Yeah. Yeah. Mad Dog wouldn't talk either.
Yeah, crazy. But you thought he was huge. Yeah. Um, how did Booker T get a bigger push than Stevie Ray? Stevie was bigger and also good on the mic.
Well, he was good, but I think Booker knew how to talk a little bit better and knew how to uh, put everything together. Again, he could do the break dance and he had a little more charisma, I think, than Stevie. Stevie had charisma, but I think Booker was a little more in front.
I feel like Booker was the better hand, if you will, the better worker.
Yeah.
So athletic. I mean, he's doing flips and stuff and landing leg drops off of flips. I mean, I think Booker was a lot more athletic. Stevie was way more jacked, though.
Yeah, I agree.
From Lewis Barrett, what do you think of the standing 10 count finish that some European promotions use to push monster wrestlers? FWA used it for the likes of Ulf Herman, Burchill, etc. Helps with the suspension of disbelief, question mark. What do you think about that?
Well, I think, yeah, it's all what the people have been fed and what they're conditioned to. to Bremen, Germany, for a week, and did the standing 10 count, and did the rounds, and um, worked with Stephen Wright. So the people were conditioned to that type of wrestling. So I think it's just a matter of educating your audience, and then it helps with their suspension of disbelief. If everybody's selling and selling the 10 count properly, it makes sense.
What does Dr. Tom think of Eric Bischoff being brought into NXT? He was on last night.
Yeah, I heard about that. I think it's great. I think it's great to bring in all the old guys back to NXT and back in the fold and back around to help some of those guys just maybe sit there and listen to what they have to say, maybe whether it's a story or advice or just uh, listening and being around them by osmosis, soak up something.
Very cool that he did that. And he'll be on MLW. He's running the show. They're literally calling Eric Bischoff's One Shot in New York City on Thursday. So Bischoff is getting out and about. But very cool to see him on NXT. Got the whole entrance. They got his, he's making matches. So very, very cool. Bischoff, one of the best. I love Bischoff.
Yeah, good for him.
From Frank Nordquest, I think that Booker T will always be able to do the spin-a-rooney no matter how old he gets.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he stays in pretty good shape.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. JT88 comments on the story Samoa Joe got the skin torn off his ass cheeks when he took a dump between two cinder blocks in single-digit weather back in Rogersville Armory in 2005. What do you think about that?
Well, JT88, I'm not quite sure I've heard this story. And I don't know that I would have any thoughts about it at all. Or comments.
If Samoa Joe said it, I believe it.
Well, okay. I don't know what to think about it.
Dr. Tom, any plans on coming to Canada in 2025? It could be the 51st state in the near future.
Well, I have no plans so far, but you never know what 2025 holds.
Trump did say that, by the way, could be the 51st state.
Yeah.
Love that. Great line.
Yeah.
Hilarious. Heard that drunks would push bigger men out of the way to get to Mad Dog Vachon. I believe they regretted it. What do you think about that?
I never heard that, but I would believe that too, because Mad Dog was one of those small but mean, nasty guys, from what I've always heard.
For Magazine Retriever, I recently heard a story about Wayne Bloom punching Jesse Ventura at a bar. Evidently, Jesse's wife Terry stuck Wayne Bloom in the back of the head with her high-heeled shoe and ended the conflict. Have you ever heard that story?
I have not. Have you?
No, never heard that. I would love to interview Wayne Bloom, though. I know that.
No, I haven't heard
that. What do you think? Just curious. Andrew Cruz Jr. saying me either. Never heard that one. What do you think of the possibility of Roman Reigns versus CM Punk, like one night being a WrestleMania main event? Because it seems like that might be teasing with this Heyman favor. Punk's never main event WrestleMania. Obviously, anything with Roman is automatically a main event. What do you think about Roman and Punk maybe with their little tension in the match and everything, them possibly having a WrestleMania main event? Would that get you excited for WrestleMania?
Yeah, that would get me excited for WrestleMania. I'd be excited for WrestleMania no matter what. But I think that's a good match. Dusty, Cody and who?
The Rock would be the other main event.
There's your two main events for WrestleMania if that's the way it goes.
That's pretty damn star-studded if those are the two main events, to be honest. That's huge.
Yeah, and that'll be in Vegas, right?
Yes.
Or is that LA?
No,
LA
Vegas.
is next year, or 26.
LA, I'm not sure if LA is, might be 2026. I'm not sure. I know Netflix, that show is at the Dome in LA.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of then.
The Intuit Dome, yep.
Yeah. Well, I think it looks, if those are the matches, that would be a hell of a WrestleMania.
Would be awesome. John Nord told the Ventura Bloom story.
Well, I like John Nord. And I've known John Nord, but I've never heard that story.
Yeah, me neither. But let's wrap this bad boy up. Dr. Tom, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Two Man Power Trip. Follow Dr. Tom at Dr. Tom Prichard. Dr. Tom, where can everybody get your book?
You can get my book if you go to jpwrestlingacademy.com, click on the training tab. The book comes right up. Or if you want an autographed copy, you can email me at jpwrestlingacademy@gmail.com and tell me you'd like an autographed copy.
Anything else going on in the world of the JPWA?
We're just working hard and staying warm. That's about it.
Thank you to Jason, Barbara. A little bit late there, but she's right about the autographed copy.
Yeah.
Maddie R., thank you. Thank you, everybody out there, for listening. Thank you for all the great questions tonight. We will see you right back here next week for a little Taking to School with Dr. Tom Prichard. We'll see you next week, folks.